I am Joel Tucker, aka Minor Prophet Joél, and I am shooting a documentary about my life before I came out to my family and friends as being gay. So, around 2011, I came out to my parents, and I am a musician, an artist, a singer, performer, and I wrote all these songs, these sad love songs, and shared them with my circle. And I'm in a different space now, and I want to share some happy times. So, when I was in college, my freshman year, my roommate was gay, and he was um, a bit flamboyant and feminine. I love him, and he was the first person that I came out to. And so he went by a different name, and so his female name was Kenyatta. So Kenyatta Kokwi. Ski whip. So I'm not supposed to do that because I am not a part of um, the AKAs. I am actually a Delta. So I'm a Delta Sigma Theta, and my mom Kenyatta always hated that about me. Um, so I am her daughter. Nia is the name that she gave me. So I'm doing this documentary, and the my new music album is going to be the soundtrack to the documentary, and I'm telling the story of Nia. So Nia was me back in my college days, traveling around the United States, going to all sorts of gay bars and scenes, uh, all over before I had ever been to a gay bar in my hometown of Cleveland, Ohio. Shout out to Cleveland, LeBron, Cavs. Whoop whoop. So we're here today. I'm on set, and we've started. We've already shot some footage of me, and we're running a little bit late behind schedule. I'm waiting for my male models. We have the luscious Jaxton Wheeler. He's a famous porn star, adult film star, and I reached out to Jaxton, and he responded, which was incredible. That he's willing to be a part of this project. So I'm waiting on him and my buddy Ian. He's on his way as well. He's another male model, and we're getting ready to shoot. I sang in college, and I paid my way through college singing. And even though I wasn't a music major, and I sang in the Glee Club. And if anybody's seen the television show Glee, that pretty much sums it up. So there were rumors that 99% of the Glee Club was gay. And I was at an all male school, and it was a bit homophobic. But when I got into those rehearsals, it was like being at home with the girls, kikiing, laughing at the conductor, queening out, just being divas. So I kind of learned the lingo and the behaviors and everything that goes with the lifestyle, um, and from that organization. We traveled all around the world, so I spent a lot of time around um, gay guys, and a lot of them were pretty feminine, pretty flamboyant. This is my first time in drag, um, but this isn't my first time in a wig, because I was always like the target. Whenever the girls came in with wigs, they would sit me down and try wig after wig on me, and they would always say, "Nia's so beautiful. She'll be so beautiful in makeup," and I just never did it. I wasn't naturally as feminine as some of the other girls, and I tried to be it at the time. I was in my early 20s. Well, actually, when I first went down there, I was only 17. And so I was trying to fit in. I was trying to be cool. I was trying to, you know, be something that I really wasn't. But at the same time, I was just young and I was having fun, so I was enjoying myself. And that's kind of the story that I want to tell, just the good times, the fun times. kikiing. What kikiing means is just laughing and gossiping and being queenish with the girls. So, what do the queens kiki about? Boys. So, we sit around and talk about all of the cute straight boys that were on campus, and there were a lot of them. And so we would talk about, the latest cute boy in class that talked to us and that smiled at us, and or that took his shirt off, or walked in with jogging pants, and you see this massive imprint. So those are the things that the girls would kiki about, or a small imprint. So we had a ball, and it was some of my best friends, and I learned a lot. There was drama, of course, like with any organization of girls, but we were friends, and it was a family. So I don't want to necessarily call out the institution or the organization's name or anything, but it was all male, and some people already know who I'm talking about. But I miss my dear mother, Kenyatta. She is in Mississippi. So we went to Mississippi on a road trip around 2000. And Mississippi is like traveling back to the 1950s. It was crazy. One, it was a bunch of winding roads. And so I'm riding with Kenyatta, and we all these winds and turns, and Kenyatta's like, oh yeah, so-and-so died there, and so-and-so died in that corner, and so-and-so died there. And I'm constantly getting interrupted. Alright. It's one of my male models. It's lost. He, I believe he's bisexual. I believe that's what he goes by. I think. I'm not sure. He's very hot. You guys will get to meet him very soon. But he gets lost easily driving.
So you're saying winding roads? And
yeah. So it was all these like dead man's curves, and so Mississippi was like crazy. And Kenyatta told me this story about how she was with her nephew, driving in Mississippi, and in some certain part, and he had to go to the bathroom, and they were passing all these spots, and he's like, "Why are you not stopping at these spots?" And Kenyatta told him, "Those were the white only places." And I looked and I said, "This is the new millennium. The year 2000, you're talking about white only venues, businesses." And so that just gives you an idea of how it was there. So we went straight out in the country, and I got a chance to meet Kenyatta's mom and beautiful sisters and her nephew, and we had a good time there. But I've been all over the place. We didn't go to any gay clubs in Mississippi, but I don't know if they really have much in the small towns. Maybe in Jaxton, Mississippi is one of the bigger cities, but we were in a really small town. But I've been all over, from New York. It's one of my favorite spots. Atlanta is probably the biggest gay city for African Americans. I just saw this article that said that 80% of black men in Atlanta are at least bisexual. And I would say that, and the majority of those bisexual ones are queens, which means that they're very feminine and flamboyant and look like Nia does today. But I love Atlanta. I miss it, and maybe one day I'll move back to Georgia. So that's it. So I'm enjoying my hair and makeup right now. I think I look pretty cute. So
how did like that experience contrast from like your home experience like before that? Like, did you want to leave? Like, did you leave so young for a reason, or was it just kind of like?
Yes, my dad is a preacher, and my mom was a pastor's daughter. My great grandfather was a preacher or pastor, and we grew up in a very strict religious household. I didn't realize it was strict growing up. We were very sheltered, and in high school I got very depressed. Um, just being closeted. I didn't come out until years after I graduated from college. So I told this story earlier when I was getting my hair and makeup done. Um, I fasted once, and fasting is a religious term that's used for going without food and water to pretty much cleanse yourself spiritually and to humble yourself to God, basically. And so I fasted in high school 3 days and 3 nights to cleanse myself from being gay. Being gay was the last thing I wanted to be. So I spent a good part of my childhood, because I knew very early on that I was gay, probably um, maybe second or third grade, maybe about third grade. I knew very early on. Um, and so by puberty, I was definitely, I knew about my sexuality. And I knew that in the church that I grew up in, that it was wrong. And the pastor preached that, you would burn in hell. There were 3 sins that were like the worst sins possible. One was being divorced. Another one was women in authoritative positions, like women preachers and women pastors, or women just not being submissive to a man. And then the worst of the worst was being homosexual. So I was in a predicament where I'm the youngest in my family. I'm the baby out of 3 children, and my oldest brother, he's been divorced more than once. My sister became a woman minister or a woman preacher, and then finally I came out to my family as being gay. So we kind of hit all 3. We nailed it. So my parents, they didn't freak out too much. I think with me, they're still kind of in denial. Like my dad told me, don't worry about it. God told me already, you're gonna get married to a woman, and you're gonna have kids, and you'll be fine. And I said, no. And so I told my mom, I said, tell Dad stop saying that. And so he stopped. But most recently, he came to me. He went to some function, and he saw some hot 22-year-old girl, some Puerto Rican girl, and he said, yeah, I thought about you. I saw this beautiful girl. And I said, really? I said, does she have a dad that's like around his 40s? And my mom thought it was funny. My dad didn't laugh at that one, but he just changed the subject after that. But yes, for any guys out there, I would date a 40-year-old Puerto Rican. I am single. Surprisingly, as beautiful as I am single. I can probably say that I'm happily single now. It's been a while for me to get to that point. I went through a phase where I was pretty desperate for a man. I in my youth I thought that I needed a man to take care of me, and that's hard to say, but it's true. I I was very dependent upon my older brother and on my parents, financially, emotionally. When I learned how to drive a car, my brother told me he was so shocked. He was surprised that I had learned to drive a car and that I had moved to Atlanta and that I had become so independent. He just never imagined that from me. And it was kind of shocking for me too, so I wasn't shocked when he told me that. I was that dependent. And so for a while when I started dating guys, I I was looking for a guy to take care of me. Not that I didn't want to make money or didn't want to work or anything. I wanted a guy to take care of me. I wanted him to pay for the meals, get the house, get a nice car. And so in Atlanta there were guys like that. So I was with a guy that for just a few months, and he was signing a deal for a house, and he was talking about how we're gonna move in together and do all this stuff, and Kenyatta had to tell me, Nia, that is not gonna happen. So I had to listen. I was not about to move in with a 23-year-old, no matter how much money he had in Atlanta. I was just gonna finish college and worry about my career and my success. But yeah, I was very dependent, and it took me some years. I had to really hit rock bottom before I was able to feel comfortable taking care of myself, being happy without a companion. I used to pray for a companion. I used to ask God, please, just send me a companion. I even wrote a song called Company, and it's one of my best songs actually, but it's a sad song. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm in a different place, and my songs now are very fun, very sexual, very liberated, because that's who I was. I'll tell one more story. When I was traveling with the Glee Club, and we're on these tour buses, I had this aha Oprah moment one day, and I looked down at my fingernails, and I usually I'm a nail biter, so I was on the bus, and I looked at my fingernails, and they were long, and I hadn't noticed, and it was the first time in my life, and since childhood, that I felt like, oh wow, I'm stress free. I'm not worrying. I'm comfortable. I'm singing. I'm with a group of people that accept me, and I'm happy. So let me take this phone call. Ian is a sweetheart, but I'm gonna wring his neck. He's driving me crazy. They all are driving me crazy. Jaxton's driving me crazy. He gave me a hard time. We're late. Like, we were supposed to start at 9:30, and it is 12:14. I've already got some footage, which is good. We've got some work done, but I feel like Kendrick Lamar, like right now, like, bitch, don't kill my vibe. They're trying to steal my joy, and I'm trying to stay in a good mood and the spirit and have the energy to complete this project. We're doing a music video, starting off this documentary. So I hope the boys are ready. We're already going to be one person short, so we're going to have to work around that. Like, what's the guys from Atlanta? Goody Mob?
Fetty Wap?
Goody Mob with CeeLo back in the day.
I don't know.
When CeeLo left Goody Mob, they came out with a song called One Monkey Don't Stop No Show. So that's become a theme for me. I take on all Atlanta, whatever, and so that's been my theme today. One monkey don't stop no show.
So I was so you're saying how you didn't have to bite your nail, like basically like you're not biting your nails because you weren't stressed anymore. Like, what advice would you give to someone who was like maybe afraid to do you think it was like good that you got away and kind of just like found yourself a little bit, and like were you were like in an area where you're able to kind of explore that? Like, do you think that's like, would you give that advice to like someone else, or like how would you say like go about that for someone who's like not sure what to do, or like maybe in a similar situation to yourself?
I'll say this. I never looked at myself. I never looked at myself as being necessarily a role model to other gay youth. Maybe it's happening. And if that's happening, I'm okay with that. But I will say I have a friend who's he's straight, and he's about 24, and he's going through a period in his life right now where his girlfriend just left him. He's used to being structured. He's a military guy, and now his life is at a place where he has no clue of what he's supposed to be doing. He's here in Cleveland. He doesn't know what he's doing. And I'm kind of giving this advice to him right now, and to anybody that's in this situation. It's all a part of life. I don't want to sound cliche, but you go through these ups and these downs, and the downs have to happen. You have to learn from the downs. Um, Maybe I was a bit hard headed. I had to really hit rock bottom and then go lower than that before I really learned the lesson. And I was in a deep depression, and I didn't know that I could come out of it. I never imagined that I would bounce back and be able to be successful in a career. You know, even though I have a college degree, um, I faced some hard times. Just looking for a career, not knowing which direction I was going in, being single and hating that. But I found a passion in music, and that was one main thing that helped get me through. And I'll say this, even though I came out to my family, I never stopped going. Well, in college, I stopped going to church for a couple of years, but I'm back to a place now where I can go to church, and I can, in some sort, eat the fish and spit out the bones. So I still get some good out of interacting with people that have faith in a higher power. I still believe in a higher power, um, and I don't want to go too far into my religious um, standings right now, but faith is a huge part of what keeps me going, what keeps me happy. Music, faith, um, loving myself. Finally, I hated myself for a long time. I hated the way I looked. I hated everything about me, and so I'm at a point now where I'm so comfortable that I'll put on jewelry and hair and makeup and a dress and talk to the world.